Hello from Funchal, Madeira. I'm Patrick Hughes and this is Planet Patrick.
I'm Patrick Hughes and this is Planet Patrick.
I'm staying right on the edge of the old town here, and there's lots of little lunch places open. I don't want anything that heavy though. I also don't want to spend 30 euros on a light lunch. I'm sure I'll find something along the way though. I'm right beside the cable car, which I want to take shortly, and you'll see that. But I'm exploring up this side street to see if there's somewhere I could get a nice lunch. I knew I'd find a little corner somewhere. Now that lunch is over, it's time to get the cable car. It's the local buses. They're a nice colour. Okay, so I'm right beside the cable car station here. It's like a 2-minute walk from where I had lunch in the old town. I'm going to pop over and get a ticket. I think it's about 11 euros. So there are 6 people allowed in each cabin, even during COVID. I don't know whether that's a reduction over the normal number. But I'm looking forward to trying it and to seeing if I can film something. That's important. And I definitely don't want to be in the middle seat. So it looks like the next one is going to be mine, and the way that they're doing it, people aren't having to share. I might be able to get in this one on my own. I'm hopeful anyway. It'll be nice to have a chat while we're heading up the mountain. Here we go. Oh, it's bouncy. Irish people are always the nicest. Okay, so that was my little trip up on the cable car. It was very nice. The guy I was talking to works for the company, and he hitched a ride in my allegedly solo cabin. But it was nice to have a conversation and to learn more about the forests and other random things. Anyway, we're now at the top in Monte. Let's go and have a look at the botanic gardens, or whatever it is I'm going to do here. Goodbye. Some of the little restaurants and coffee shops up here in Monte are perched right on the side of the hill, precariously positioned looking down the valley. This one is Barbosa's village, something like that, and it's got a wonderful view, but they've had to build what looks like a 1-story building on, I think, 4 stories. 1, 2, and then it looks like 2 more. It's vertiginous living. Like in Egypt, I was following a sign for the Jardin Botanico. I just wanted to go over and check out how much it was. I'm not sure that I have time to go today, but I was looking at this sign, and I didn't look at the bit on top of it, which is Teleferico, which is another cable car. So there are 2 cable cars. You can come up one and go down the other if that's your choice. I'm happy that I've done one. I'm going to go down a slightly different way. Well, I guess that's a hint as to where the tropical gardens are at. Jardim Tropical Garden. Welcome to this stop on our little tour of Funchal. To get into the tropical garden costs €12.50. It's not an insubstantial sum. I'm hopeful that there'll be plenty to look at though. I am like a rose among so many thorns. Or the biggest flower. Biggest weed? What are you talking about? There are a number of little exhibits looking at precious stones or the historical contacts between Madeira and Africa and other areas that are thoughtfully laid out. Here's the thing though, that wasn't my first priority whenever I came to this tropical garden. I've no problem with it. I think it's great to have an interpretive centre. You know how much I love them. But I'm here to look at exotic flowers and unusual trees. I think that's exactly what we're going to find here. Another bonus, in this shaded area, it's much cooler than on top of Monte. It's relaxing. Do you think it's 1250 relaxing? I think it is. That feels Japanese inspired, doesn't it? A little bit of red. The veranda of Romeo and Juliet is over here. Hopefully there aren't some young teenagers hurling themselves off a balcony. That would be most upsetting. They have lots of those. But sure, we have those in Newry. What's different here, hey? That's more like it. Nice. This artwork is a bit Piet Mondrian, isn't it? This is not Brussels, so it isn't Le Mannequin Peace. Happily, that water is coming out of a vessel underneath the little statue. But the little waterfall is very refreshing, very nice. And there's plenty of fish in here too. Let's have a look. I think they're hopeful for a little snack. This is a giant yucca plant. This is an azalea. This is a laurel. A laurel, laurel, laurel. This is a golf cart. Golf cartiensis. I'm going to make my way down a little further. This feels like it's going to be a lot of walking to get back up again. But that's good for the system, isn't it? There is a really pleasing view from here over this lovely pond with little waterfall that's running into it. So I've walked around the tropical garden. It was tropical. It's very hot. I don't like to say that I'm sweaty. But I've climbed up a mountain like Maria von Trapp. And all I can tell you is that Maria must have been suffering under that Mahusive hat and nun's habit. Anyway, now I'm going to find out about the toboggan and whether it's safe to film in one. I will find this out by watching random strangers get into one beside the chapel of Saint Toboggan of the Tobogganers. I was wondering if I was heading the right direction for the toboggans. Then I heard a little clattering sound, and lots of gentlemen dressed in white with their basket-made toboggans were here. So this is where it all starts from. They call it here Carreiros do Monte, or Toboggans do Monte. There is a little queue, so I'm going to go and join that. So there is a little place here that you pay. It's 25 euros for one person, I think 30 for two, and 45 for three people. Oh, I should say kids up to 5 years old go for free. And off we go. Here's my dear friends. Hi.
Hi.
What are your names?
Bruno.
Bruno. Oh, that's better. Hi. Going on a bit of a tilt there. This is where you hope you don't die. This is a bit of a traffic jam. Their shoes are all the same, did you notice that? They have special rubber soles. It's me, the toboggan. Heading downhill. Keep it going. Oh, God help us all. One moment. You're like, no problem. There you go. You're welcome. Well, that is quite the experience. It costs €25 for about 3 or 4 minutes to go down a couple of kilometers, but I definitely would do it again. A lot of fun. Although once you're in, they're gone. They ain't hanging about for you to get your camera working or whatever you want to do. And when you get to the bottom, they try and sell you a photograph. But that happens everywhere, whether it's here in Funchal, or in Germany, or indeed in Ireland. No, I don't think we do that in Ireland. Maybe that's a business idea for me. I'm only stopping to say something because I love that tree behind me with all the kind of Spanish moss type stuff hanging off it. I'm sure it's not called Spanish moss at all. It's something much more mellifluous and fabulous than that. If you know what it is, mention it in the comments. It gives me a reason to put it into the edit. You should see the stuff that doesn't make it into the edit. Holy shimoly. If you think they give you lots of room when they're driving past you down this tiny hilltop street, they don't. They just keep on going. If you're in the way, just banubas. One thing I did want to note is that as I'm going around town, there's some lovely new buildings, some older buildings that have been done up, but quite a lot of this, which is little gardens or houses that are kind of falling apart along the way, either because they're not kept or because perhaps somebody has died and it's allowed to go into ruin. Then again, on certain occasions, that's bound to be, a family owns it, but the family no longer live here. They live overseas or work in Portugal or somewhere else in the EU. And they want to keep it maybe with the dream of doing up the property, but I'd love to see them being done up. I suspect there's more to it than that. I think apart from tourism here on the island, there isn't an awful lot else here to work at. If you work in tourism, great. If you work in supporting tourism, if you want to set up a big financial services company or a services company or manufacturing, this is probably not the place that you'd pick for it because we're sort of in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, off the coast of Morocco. If you thought San Francisco had a lot of hills, you've never been to Madeira. This is what I mean about the crumbling buildings right in the centre of town. I mean, this is such a desirable area. We're so close to the waterfront, it's just a walk that way. Oh, at least this one is for sale. Anyway, my monologue is over for this bit. Let's see what happens in the next bit. I was wondering why I was sweltered and I just saw a temperature gauge down here. It's 30 degrees. Thank you so much for joining me for this little tour around Funchal in Madeira. It's been a pleasure having you here for this episode. If you'd like to subscribe and click the notification bell, you'll find out when there's new similar videos coming up on Destination Reports. I hope you enjoyed it. Take care. Bye bye.
I'm Patrick Hughes and this is Planet Patrick.